I've heard a lot about the pressure that businesses in Wellington are under at the moment, I suppose like just about everyone at the capital, so it's time to get out there and have a bit of a talk. And you're first up, Jeremy. I mean, you were a successful businessman. Is it still possible to be successful in Wellington?
In hospitality, very difficult. Very difficult indeed. The perfect storm, as we know, high cost, high interest, a big increase in rates, big increase in insurance, and people aren't coming to work, people staying home, people Zoom calling, they're not traveling. So yeah, perfect storm, but we need to fix it.
But from a practical level, I mean, you're a businessman. That's what you do.
Yep.
Are your businesses running at a profit right now?
No. A good month is a break-even month. But yeah, we've been bleeding for 18 months now, and as we all know, a lot of businesses are running out of runway to actually survive. The economy needs to turn, and Wellington needs to improve dramatically.
I mean, don't we hear this all the time about businesses? Oh, it's tough out there. I mean, you're just having a bit of a moan deep down, you're doing all right, it's just a bit of a wobble. Is it like that?
No, unfortunately not. The economy needs to improve. That's a big one, and little shoots maybe that it is, but then we've got to address Wellington, and there's a lot of talk, a lot of hot air, and we've now got to come up with some practical solutions.
But is it Wellington, or is it the economic climate? If your business was in Auckland, would you be doing better than you're doing now?
Well, two very simple reasons. If my business was in Auckland, our rates would be half of what I pay currently, and my insurance would be about 25% of what I pay currently. So that would be a saving, a massive saving every year. From what I see in Christchurch is buzzing. There's a really good feel about Christchurch at the moment.
Look, I agree with you on the vibe. I mean, everyone you talk to around Wellington at the moment, it's just everyone's down, aren't they? I mean, it's that can't be good for business.
No, it's not good for business. There's a lack of confidence, and it's just lack of confidence, and we seem to be a little bit bereft of solutions at the moment. And we looked at council, and right now there's not a lot of faith that the council are in a position to deliver.
It's a bit like Ronald Reagan, isn't it? Yeah, the government is the problem. Yeah. So is the council, what's so wrong? Because I don't believe that people go onto the council to try and wreck the city. You presume people go on there with good intentions.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody's got good intentions, and there's agendas and stuff. I think some at the moment we've got a little bit caught up in ideology, and the ideology is a lot around cycle lanes, doing things that might not be good for business but make people feel good, or make councillors feel good about themselves, and that hasn't helped addressing insurance costs, and it hasn't helped addressing massive increases in rates.
See, is there somewhere in the middle? I mean, what could the council do to make things better?
Well, look, some of the stuff we're trying to do as business owners down Courtney Place is trying to revitalise Courtney Place, and we had a very simple three-point plan: address safety and security, which is taking a lot more time, and we want to. There's too many people living in and on the street, drinking on the street, that we've got to address. We need to do beautification and urban design. Golden Mile has been put forward as that. I don't think that's the solution. And then lastly is activation. Encourage people to get out of their houses, come and break bread together, have a meal together, and give them reasons. So we've got the New Year's Eve party, we've got the block party coming up in November, we've got buskers, we've got a whole lot of stuff that we're trying to do to encourage people to come into the city, enjoy themselves, just relax, and hopefully spend just a little bit of money in the venues.
You're not a great believer in the Golden Mile plan.
There's, I suppose, a question to ask: what problem are we trying to solve, and how are we trying to elevate the city? And I think what happened was very well-intentioned designers sat down and said, this is what we think it should look like, and then came and spoke to business owners and said, will it work for you? And the answer was no, and then they said, well, it's too late, we can't change the design. So we've got things like a cycle lane in an area that's trying to be pedestrianised, which makes no sense whatsoever, because you're utilising space that should be for businesses, and it's just taking space. You've got no cars at all, where I think there could be a little bit of a mixed use. So there's ideas have been thrown out, but they're asking us to bet big with our businesses that it's going to work, and we're just not convinced in the current design it's going to work.
Would you say you have to be a masochist to be in business in Wellington these days?
Oh no, I don't think so. I just think that we're in business. We love Wellington. We enjoy being in business. My group employ over 100 people, and I want to keep them employed. I want to keep on growing the business. I want Wellington to be fun. I want to go back to the days where Wellington was activated, was fun, and I know we harp back to the 70s. I know that those days are long gone. But
Or the street race.
There's so much more we could do, and we just lost so much of that vibe.
Yeah.
And as Wellingtonians, business owners, we want to regenerate that. We want people to be proud of our city. We want people to come out. We want people to say we are the capital city of entertainment, of arts and culture, and we need to keep on doing that.
You see, as much as you say you love Wellington, but there's a limit to how long you can afford to keep running a business here.
That's the other side of the coin. I am looking at my exit and saying that if I could sell the businesses, why not move to Christchurch where there's vibe? Why not move to Auckland where there's more people? It must be on everybody's mind, and absolutely it's part of our longer term business plan.
Tell me one thing the council could do to help you right now.
I think invest more in some of the things that we need to do in terms of the entertainment, encouraging people to come out, supporting our initiatives around the Courtney Place and the other businesses. I think we need to have a rethink in terms of Wellington NZ. We've lost business travel, so we need to replace it with something, and tourism is the obvious solution. Now, Wellington's currently a tourist gateway. We've got people stay for one night as you move between both islands. We need to be a destination. Wellington's NZ long-term plan talks about being a destination for tourism, and we seem to be very content in making it a gateway. And we've got to rethink our whole tourism model, and we've got to invest in some infrastructure to encourage people to stay for 4 nights, not 1 night.
So we've got to have something to offer, don't we? If you're going to come to Wellington, there's got to be something to do.
I think there's a lot more to do than we tell people, and I think we've got that scope, but I also think we've got a beautiful harbour that's unutilized. You go to Auckland, you've got jet boats, you've got sailing trips, you've got fishing charters, you've got harbour tours, you've got all these things. Now, I know the wind blows a bit here, but we can utilize our harbour a lot more. Let's advertise what we've got. I mean, how many times have we advertised, come to Wellington, go to Te Papa, have a good meal, pop over. Michael's got 16% of the country's wineries. Let's pop over there and do that. Let's go and make some beer in Lower Hutt. Let's come back and let's do we can do mountain biking, we can do gentle cycling, we can do arts and culture. So what we can say is, if you bring your family to Wellington, I can find something that every single one of you can do, maybe not all together, but afterwards you can go and have a show or something. So there's so much happening, but we're just not convinced that it's worth marketing.
And you're going to need to encourage those people who are going to provide those activities. You've got to encourage them to come here.
Yeah. I mean, I've said let's go to some of the American Cup old boats and say, let's fund you for 2 seasons. So basically, you won't lose any money. Come and give your best effort. Let's fund. Make sure you don't lose any money. In 2 seasons, let's do a proof of concept. Let's go to Real Journeys and say, do you have an old ferry or something we can bring to the harbour for a year or so and do harbour tours? Go and do Soames Island. Go and see the seals. Go and see the lighthouse. Have an aeroplane land and you head at the end of the runway. There's stuff we can do, but we're not thinking big enough, or we're not taking the chance of investing in putting that infrastructure in and say, let's see if it works, and shout it from the rooftops.
Mayor's job's up for grabs next year.
No. I'm good at business. I am not suited to do that role. I couldn't do it. But I'm happy to support. I'm happy to champion Wellington from the rooftops.
What will change that?
I do think we need to change council. I do think Wellington NZ, that's got $32 million each year out of council and out of ratepayers. We need to relook at that model. We need to stop throwing money at some of the cycle lanes and things that are not generating revenue. They're taking money away. It's a nice to have, but let's rethink what are some of the short-term things we need to do and put money into them.
But then just on the cycleways, they might be a nice to have, but it's a different thing. People don't look at that from an economic model. It's not going to deliver any money, but the things are changing. People are moving more and more towards, as a modern city, don't we have to embrace that?
Yes, there's a lot of other things we need to embrace. I don't think it's a must-have now. It can evolve. The amount of money it's going into and the number of car parks it's taking out. When I had friends recently, we wanted to go for dinner, and they arrived 40 minutes late because they couldn't find a park.
Been there.
And, it's not encouraging people to come into the city. People working from home Mondays, Fridays, maybe having a bite to eat at the local pub, bar, restaurant. Great for them, but the city needs them as well. And if people aren't coming in and then don't come in at night because they can't get into the city, not going to help us.
Hey, as we finish, because people will look at this, they might say, oh yeah, look, business people are always moaning when things are down a bit. Just how bad is, in terms of the numbers and things for you, what's the reality? Is it just a bit off, or is it really desperate?
I mean, business travel in Wellington's down 50%. People are Zoom calling, Teams and all the rest of it. The bosses are only opening the purse strings if you actually have to travel, and often they're saying come in and out in one day. So if you look at a hotel like Trinity Hotel, they might break even, in all honesty, is around probably about $167,000 a month to break even. I haven't broken $100,000 in turnover for 12 months. So I'm bleeding. It's no question. You walk down Courtney Place and see how many empty shops and bars and restaurants there are. These aren't people who, want to close their business and want to lay off staff. These are people who can't afford to do it anymore.
And I've got a vested interest. My nephew works in one of your restaurants. How long can you afford to keep doing that, though? There must come a point where you go, I can't keep subsidising this. I can't keep taking those hits.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends on each business. It's different. Depends, what your debt equity ratio is, how much capital you've got, what your options and alternatives are. I mean, I've been at this game 25 years now. I'm in my 60s. The concept of starting again is scary. If I have to walk away from, 25 years of hard effort and investment and say, what's next? I don't know. So right now I'm working incredibly hard to try and make sure that that's not the reality I have to face, that the cycle turns, people come back to work. We do get some investment rights in Wellington, and I can have a conversation with you and say things are looking much better.
I look forward to that conversation.
Cool, thank you.
All right.
You can't beat Wellington on a good day, or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
So, Sean, you were part of the problem. You were on council at one stage, eh?
Yeah, I mean, which problem are you talking about?
Well, okay, do we have a problem in Wellington?
Look, the New Zealand economy needs to turn a corner, and we've had some good news recently. I mean, those mortgage rates kill you, right? We can talk about rates, and my rates have doubled since 2013. $300 a week I think I'm paying now, and that's before the water meter charges. But in reality, a 1% change in your mortgage rate can actually add thousands onto it. So that's been a real important to see that coming down, and hopefully that'll feed out. But I do think though that we're in a slump here in Wellington. It's all bad news, and some of the government's policies which are publicly we've been told about cuts and so on, but I hear actually the cuts aren't as widespread as they have been publicised. But nevertheless, I think there's a lot of naysayers here. Naysayers on both sides of the political spectrum, and I think we need to actually wake up and smell the coffee. My two kids finished school yesterday, went down to Clyde Quay and went fishing.
So you think we're talking ourselves into it a bit?
Yeah, I think so. I think when I got on the council, I sort of figured, well, what do we really do as city councillors? Surely the first thing we are is champions for the city. And I said this to my colleagues, we need to be the figureheads. Even if behind closed doors we've got real concerns, publicly we come out and we say we love Wellington, it's the best place and all that sort of thing. But that just never seems to happen. It all gets mired in political, shenanigans.
The big issue seems to be that there's a distrust appears with the council, there's distrust within the council. it's just it's not a good look. I mean, Wellington is painted as a dysfunctional city.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's two things I think we need to be very clear about. There's nothing dysfunctional about elected members disagreeing and doing that publicly. That is what we're elected for. In my maiden speech, I said that. In my valedictory speech, I celebrated it. Some of the ding-dong fights that I had with different members of the council were absolutely fine. But nevertheless, when you get some councillors voting, for example, to simply undermine the mayor, and we had that in the last triennium, simply they didn't like Andy Foster, so from day one they marshalled their forces and made his life uncomfortable, one-term mayor. Paul Eagle didn't get the nod, which was a big surprise, but Tory did. Well, we're now starting to see, well, we've got an election next year, so those Labour guys have been championing Tory and now sort of maybe undermining her a wee bit, joined by some people on the other side. But
so
anyway,
how can you make it work in the campus? You're always going to have this, aren't you? You're going to have division. You go people with different agendas. How are you going to get a common sense direction within a council that's so split?
So in my view, first of all, political diversity is healthy. Being able to reach across the aisle and to be able to do things. Some of the most important support that I had on the council came from the other side of the political spectrum. Very rarely was it reciprocated, but nevertheless I was open to listening to the other side. I also think that, I looked at the mayoral candidate debates, went to a few of those debates in the last electoral campaign, and no one seemed to be articulating their vision. Andy Foster had to sort of like portray the long-term plan that he got voted into. Didn't really support. Paul Eagle, who had years to actually plan his long-term vision, said, I'm going to hold a review. That was Paul's, my God. And Tory, well, she came through the middle with a lot of big tailwind from the press as well, and articulated, I suppose to be fair, a Green Party type of view. And anyone who felt that she wasn't part of the Green Party because her membership had lapsed, needed to maybe think again. So, but, why aren't we having politicians campaign on a vision? Things like the Heritage Park in Miramar. I mean, bring that to the top of the agenda and Miramar will love you for it. We've got the second Mount Vic tunnel now. Now, I was an Eastern Ward councillor, and a lot of people very vocally with the key warriors would talk about, the anti-car thing. And, we don't want to have those cars, we want cyclones, but actually get out in the public. And they love the idea of a second Mount Vic tunnel. So anyway, just championing those big projects, and that's going to come through shortly. So we need to start listening to the people instead of maybe some of the international academics.
Okay, what's the top problem in Wellington right now?
I think the hospitality sector is without doubt struggling. I've interviewed a number of people with Hotline, and without doubt they've said it's the worst it's ever been.
And if you could, you've been on council, you've been on the inside, you've seen it from the outside. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do around the council that's going to make things better?
So I think next year's election year, we need a mayoral campaign where one or other set out very clearly their vision, and they make sure that they vote for councillors that will support that vision.
Cool. All right.
Okay, Mark, just ask Sean, favourite restaurant, favourite beach, Wellington Beach.
Okay, all right. Hey, in terms of, you love Wellington. Look, everyone should love Wellington. It can be hard at times. So, for your favourite restaurant?
I love the Crab Shack, actually, on the waterfront on a nice day, and you get a real special sort of menu there. So, Crab Shack.
Have you tried Bel Air?
Can't say I had, no.
Tory Street used to be Cafe 88.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Affordable French cuisine. You get a dessert for $7.
Oh, okay. Well,
$7. $7. It's called Bel Air, and it is fantastic. So, but starting a restaurant, see, that's the thing that I was interested to support that up. To start a restaurant in these times is pretty ballsy.
Yeah. Well, I should imagine so. Although, recently I interviewed a bloke who's started up a kosher bakery,
Yeah.
which is going great guns. So I think there's still opportunity. There's niche. It's about marketing. It's about being better than the other guys.
Okay, restaurant. What about beaches? What's the best beach in Wellington?
Oh, Lower Bay. Lower Bay is just a gem. Surf, almost guaranteed surf all the time. Get a wetsuit though. I'm from Hawke's Bay where it's hot. Get a wetsuit. Take your kids along. Brilliant.
See, I go to Lower Bay a lot, but I go there to walk my dog.
Go there and walk the dog as well.
That's right. And chase the surfers. All right. Good.
You can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
Is Wellington a good city to live in?
Wellington's a great city to live in. I mean, and work in. I mean, I've been lucky to live and work in New York and London and Asia, and I came back to Wellington because it's really hard to beat.
It's challenging though sometimes, isn't it? It makes it hard to like it sometimes. I mean, it seems dysfunctional right now, Anthony.
Well, look, some things are dysfunctional, but you can only control the things around you, and if you make those work, then Wellington becomes a really good town to do business in.
Is the rest of New Zealand laughing at us?
Look, right now, yeah, we're getting our fair share. But look, I mean, they move on, just like the media cycle moves on. So, no, I think we've been a bit of a whipping boy in the last few months, but I think they'll move on to something else.
Look, I admire your positivity. What needs to change? What needs to improve that?
Well, look, I think we've got to stop looking at council and looking at government and start looking at ourselves. I think that's when things start to come right, is when you kind of rely on your own business and your own wits to get things going for your business, and not to sit back and wait for the government to bail us out.
I mean, that's admirable, but for a lot of businesses, they're saying we're getting shafted by council, we're getting shafted by government. We can't just do it by ourselves.
Well, we got to. I mean, what choice do we have? So I think in the way we've got to take things by the scruff of the neck. We deal with lots of clients now. We're in an advertising company, so look, we generally see the worst very early, and we see the best bits and the green shoots when they start to sort of turn up. And the companies we're talking to are the ones that have said, bugger the recession, we're going to get on with it ourselves and try and improve our own circumstance.
So there's a future for Wellington.
I believe there is, but it's going to look different than it has been. We have to. We've got a marketplace that goes beyond Wellington's kind of boundaries. We get business from the rest of the country. We can be a global operator in business. That's where the customers are, and we can do that from Wellington.
Why are we so down at the moment?
I think we're sort of reading our own press. And when
you're in the media, it's your fault.
Yeah, I'm not in the media.
Well, social media.
Yeah, no, it is, and that's you got to be able to push past that. And I think that's where our kind of success is going to come from. We've got a lot of amazing talent in this town. We've got a community. We've got a creative community too. So those are the things that can turn things around. It's not a bad thing that some people have lost a job. I mean, when I lost my job, great things came from.
So it'll prompt people to do other things, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because when the economy's going well, you get complacent, and a lot of the people, those 6,000 plus government workers and all the other people affected by it, they'll look for other opportunities.
What's your favourite restaurant?
Oh, my favourite restaurant? I like the Capital. It's a great spot. We love that. We go there every year for Christmas. We'll be going there again.
And what about a beach? What your favourite beach in Wellington?
Well, I live up on the coast, so I definitely Otaki Beach. I love. It's got a great sandy beach, which it's a great place to walk.
See, that's interesting. See, you're living up Otaki, but you still feel part of Wellington.
Yeah, of course we are. We're all connected to the city, and now with short transmission gully ride, we literally are part of the town. Absolutely.
Cool. So a lot of the people you're working for, you're saying they're positive.
Yes. Yeah, no, look, those clients, I mean, I won't name them because they'll be...
Oh, you can name them if you want to.
But we have some great clients who are, who see there's some potential growth. And so they're going to advertise because they want to grow their business rather than just sit with how the industry goes.
Are they outliers though? I mean, most people seem to be sort of hunkering down and sort of,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, those are the only people we tend to see are the ones that who want to grow or see opportunity. And the best way to get yourself out of recession is to build business, increase demand, and that's the only way to get out of a recession. Because if you're going to sit and wait for the economy to pick up, it'll be a lot slower.
So that's your free advice to all those potential clients out there.
Come and talk to us. Talk about how we can grow your business. That's what's going to get you going again.
We hope. Good one. All right.
You can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
Rhys, how hard is it to do business in this town at the moment?
Challenging, to say the least. Works everywhere, disruptions everywhere, traffic's a mess. Definitely challenging, but we're finding there's still lots of people who want to come into Wellington, have a good time, enjoy coffee, good company, that sort of thing. So that's something we're going to build on in the future.
So you're talking about a future, you've got confidence.
Yes. Well, we're in a fortunate position we're able to move, so we're definitely going to move. Not in a great position from a retail perspective for Christmas, but that's where we lean into what we do have, which comes down to our native talents with events and sort of making people feel welcome.
What could make things better for you in terms of operating your business?
A lot more support from leadership, political and social, anything that helps promote Wellington really, because every business that closes really, there's just one more reason for people not to come into Wellington. And well, we're working to try and reverse that ourselves, but we need help doing that.
How much of this is down to the council?
I'd say quite a bit of it. There's an absence of leadership there. There's some people trying to do some things and help us out here and there, but there's nothing really coherent, and that's what we need, some concentrated, coherent promotion of Wellington itself more than anything.
I'm just looking around. I mean, you're operating in a construction zone, aren't you?
Yeah,
effectively.
Yeah. Well, we're meters away. We're functionally inside the construction zone for the Wellington Central Library. It has been a significant issue, both physically and mentally, from a health perspective.
Do they offer any? I mean, is there anything you can get? Any subsidies or help, or
not really,
help your business cope?
Not really. No. The most we've gotten has been a lot of support from the works themselves, and it's been fascinating seeing just how industrious they are over there. But
so the workers are good.
Oh, the workers are excellent.
How many councillors have been round to see you and check out how you're getting on?
One or two, but it's only been infrequent. There's been nothing coherent from them, so we're focusing on what we've got and sort of trying to build from there.
What could they do that would help you, Rhys?
Any sort of subsidies, grants, support, even if it wasn't directly.
So you need the money.
We need the money. We need the money. The landlord needs the money. Property owners need the money. Ultimately, if it wasn't us ourselves, then something that makes it easier for the landlords to subsidise us, cut rent, anything like that, would just help Wellington.
I mean, you sound a guy who's committed to staying here, but the confidence must get tested at times.
Very, but it's when we're not here to do things easy, we're here to do things that have to be done. The reality is the works are there, the disruption's there. Even if it were to stop now, there'd still be these gaping holes in Wellington. If we try and reverse it, there's still more works to be done. So no matter what, this is the situation that we're in, this is what we have to work with. We work with what we've got, the situation we've got.
The Golden Mile, what do you think of that plan?
I don't have a lot of confidence in it myself, just because it doesn't seem like a great plan. It just seems like a wish list of what wants to happen. And again, it falls into the same problem we're facing right now. There's nothing to cover what happens while that work's being done. There's the before, there's the after, both look great, but in the meantime, while that work is being done, what is happening to those businesses?
What's communication and been like in terms of with the council and everyone else during this time?
The council, minimal. There's been some more communication from the construction companies themselves, just updating us on what's going to go on and how they're trying to minimize disruption. But there hasn't been a lot of good communication in terms of what the future holds, what plans are being put in place, what support there is going to be, if any.
Again, I admire your determination, but what would tip it over?
What would really tip it over is if we saw something from the council for businesses to make the business environment a lot more stable. Right now, there's just so many questions, and I think that is what is putting businesses under. No one knows which way to jump. They don't know if they're going to be around in 3 months, if they should start closing now to avoid the inevitable, while they still have something to help them close with. We faced that ourselves for a very long time. It was only in the middle of the year that I just thought we have to close, and then we had such an outpouring of support that it's like, no, we can turn this around.
Your issue of games is undaunted.
Basically, yes, undaunted. We've got to be determined, resolute, indefatigable, all those things. And it's challenging, but we're seeing a lot of reason to do that from the community. The gaming community, Wellington community, just so much support from the public that I feel it's our obligation to try and do it. Even if we fall over in the end, it's not going to be for a lack of trying.
Hey, what's your favourite restaurant?
Ooh, that's a hard choice. That's a really hard choice. There's Joe's Garage. There's a few cafes like Pickle and Pie up the road. There's lots of them. They're still going on. They're still trying what's going on with everything around them. But again, that's sort of what we need to lean into. Who's still there? Who's still active? Who wants to make a go of this? And part of what we're looking to do in the future is just sort of leaning into that and working with those.
Best beach in Wellington?
Best beach in Wellington, Oriental Bay. Yeah.
Don't question.
No question at all. My son loves it there.
Maybe you sort of set up a little store down there. Could be the way to go.
Could be. We are looking at sort of outdoor events, off-site events as well. So anything and everything.
How much of this do you think is down to attitude, down to vibe? If I can sound a bit like the castle.
Increasingly, that is what it's about. You've got to be able to approach this with, again, that undaunted attitude, and it's challenging. You look around Wellington, there's so much construction going on, so much traffic diverted, roads closed, leaks, that sort of thing. It's hard to maintain a positive attitude. So when we can't maintain a positive attitude, we maintain as resolute an attitude as possible. So like, we stick to our guns, stick to what we've got, our strengths, our attributes, and push on those, lean on those, and hope those get us through to when we're next feeling positive about what we can do again.
Hey, good luck.
Thank you.
You can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
Tell me, Mark, got you in the car, we're going around meeting people and talking about Wellington, and I think I've almost warmed up to the fact that people think that there might be a future here. What do you think about Wellington?
Oh, people, it's funny, despite how bad it is, people are pretty positive. You know, you see those young guys saying they love it, they love the culture, all that sort of stuff. So I think everyone does love Wellington, but they hate all the rubbish that goes with it, the sort of and all the problems we've got at the moment, and the businesses are doing it tough. But even then, people are still going, we're going to push through. So there's an incredible loyalty. You're worried though at some point that might run out.
What's your favourite beach?
I must say, Lyle Babes, I take the dog down there. I go there all the time. I think it's sort of quite cool. It's a great area down there. Yeah.
Favourite restaurant?
See, I was a big Capitol was my favourite restaurant for years, but I do like Lulu's because my nephew is the chef there, and he's bloody good. And I also like this new one, and I think it's great. A restaurant starting up in this climate, Bel Air in Tory Street, affordable French food. I went there the first time, and you get an entree for $6 and a dessert, not much more.
Hey mate, I'm buzzing right now. You can probably tell by the Cheshire Cat smile on my face. And tell me, with your past on TVNZ, who did you meet? I mean, we interviewed Pauline Gillespie, and she said she met Beyonce, Trump. She met all these people. You must have interviewed some interesting people other than me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a great opportunity. I mean, Clinton, Bill, the Dalai Lama. I tell you, who was actually good fun was old Bill Shatner. Captain Kirk.
Oh,
Yeah, for a Canadian.
what would you? I mean,
He was over here. This is after, and he'd done that. What's it, Boston Legal or whatever? What was that show?
oh, he's a legend.
Yeah, and he was funny as a fit.
What do you do when you interview someone and you really fall for them, and you get? Does the cameraman tell you what to do, or do you just flow?
Oh, no, it's flow. No, the cameraman's there. It's interesting, and even that. I remember once was it Paul McCartney? I think was doing an interview.
The Beatle.
Yeah, and he had his own cameraman come in and check the framing and make sure that they had it done and how they wanted it, which you can assist on when you're Paul McCartney, I guess.
Have you got a favourite song? What's your favourite band, or have you just got some?
It's like, what's your favourite kid, I like the, Beatles, Stones, Kinks, Doors. I mean, I'm a product of my era, but sort of more modern-y. Yeah, I'm into everything, but it's hard to go. They reckon you never change. The music you heard as you as you're growing up, that's what stays with you for the rest of your life. It ends at a certain thing.
Dude, what do you think about travel? I mean, would you travel out of Wellington? Obviously, you're a Wellingtonian.
Yeah.
You care about the city.
Yeah.
You're out now today doing this, not paid, all for Wellington, just to get the vibe and share that. I mean, where do you travel to? Do you ever go out of Wellington?
Oh, yeah, go. I mean, I was over the Wairarapa last week. We're doing a fundraiser for the Life Flight Trust. So there's a bit of, and I got Hawke's Bay, Caddy. I've got friends up there. I like to go up, bit of time up in Auckland.
Why are you doing this for Wellington?
Why? Oh, look, everyone's concerned about Wellington. Everyone's worried about Wellington. And as I say, when I walk out of the supermarket and there I see my barber, old Mark from Kilburnie, standing in the middle of a car park, and he's why am I doing it? Well, you walk out of the supermarket and there's my barber standing there in the middle of a car park in the middle of a massive southerly talking to this other guy about when they're both going to shift to Brisbane.
No.
And there's that more and more and more. People are sort of getting that fed up and had enough, and they think it's dysfunctional, and I think that's wrong. There is lots of good things about Wellington, and we've got to just make it work. But
so you're doing this, you're going around and interviewing, just sort of few interviews here and there. Do you have any advice? But you know a lot of things and a lot of people. Do you have any advice for Wellington and the councillors if you could sit in a room with them?
God, I mean, look, as I said, I don't believe that anyone who stood for council or signed up or whatever, I think they'll go in with the best of motives. It's a bit like national politics, but they're not always well equipped to do the job. It would seem to be they're just disparate. People just want to know, look, can we just know where we're going, what's happening, keep it plain and simple, and that's what's not happening at the moment. People don't have it. It's that lack of confidence. And if people are going to invest their money and their futures in the city, they're going to be able to have some confidence.
Would you, would you put your money where your mouth is? If someone said, "Hey, why don't you run for
I've heard
southern suburbs or something?"
People have said that before over the last few elections. So, look, it's something you'd have to think really carefully about. I'm certainly not looking at that at the moment.
And what about Trump? What about Trump winning in America?
I wasn't surprised, to be honest, because it came back down to, it was no one had any confidence in the economy. A 75% negative view of the economy. No one's going to vote for someone who's an insider, Kamala, and effectively the vice president. You've been there the last 4 years and was saying the economy is tanked. Then there's no way they could win. That's us, but of course all of us, myself included, all got caught up in the Trump's a danger, and he is. I think he is a danger.
What do you mean he's a danger?
Well, how do you look at us? I mean, we've got so used to him telling outright lies, and we just accept it. So how's it going to be when you're president? What's going to happen with NATO? What's going to happen with the Ukraine? What's going to happen with Russia? All those sort of things. I think there's major worries.
Well, doesn't Trump just go in there and sit down at the table and bang the table and say that we're not going to give you weapons anymore?
What, to the Ukraine?
Yeah.
And so what, do we abandon them so the Russians can keep all the land that they've invaded and taken? That's a great lesson. So what happens when they decide they want to do the same to Georgia or anywhere else?
Well, he'll say that you can't have Georgia. He'll just negotiate a bit of land. Isn't that part of a negotiation?
Well, listen, that's what you see. But hang on, if someone came in and invaded your house, and then you're saying, well, look, if you move out, I'll give you half the house.
No, that
Would you be on for that? Well, that's effectively, isn't it, what they're saying to the Ukraine?
Well, no, but you're making that about me. You're making that about me. That's about them now. You're trying to make this about me.
No, but I'm saying it's the same. It's the same principle.
Yes.
Why should you saying that it's negotiated? Well, negotiate implies that they're going to have to give up whatever the Russians have stolen so far. And
Crikey, mate,
most
that's
people
just it's a bit too real when you put it like that.
Well, that's what the situation. Look, if Trump can put an end to the Ukraine war, I'd say good on him. But there's got to be a fair and just end to it. And then there's that whole issue over, the whole NATO alliance is supposed to sort of safeguard prevent world wars and all that whole sort of thing. Gone. I mean, Trump wants out of it. And he does these things. There's always a grain of truth in it. I mean, for years the Americans have been picking up the lion's share of running NATO.
We just flipped the screen on you right now with the down into Courtney Place here. We're turning right from Taranaki into the mighty Courtney Place. What do you think?
Well, it was interesting. I mean, they do need to. I mean, and all the businesses here. See, my son comes down here every weekend. He hits all the clubs and all that sort of stuff. And they all complain about lack of toilets and lack of facilities, and then there's all the homeless and the sort of the people sleeping on the street. But it worked. You've got to tidy up the environment a bit too, I think.
Didn't you used to come into Courtney Place?
Oh, I've always been done the old Courtney Place, but jeepers.
What's your favourite bar in Courtney Place? Have you been to Molly Malone's before?
Years and years ago.
What was your? Did you remember any bars when you were here in Courtney Place that you?
Oh, look, there was the old Ecstasy Plus, of course, when I first started coming. Old Terry's one on the corner.
Terry
Serapisos.
Oh,
had a huge big bar down here called Ecstasy Plus.
Okay. Well, you all have got a deep history and a passion for Wellington, and you've obviously travelled New Zealand. I mean, do you have a favourite city?
Oh, look, you'd have to say Wellington, yeah. I had it great for a while when I was doing post-up. I'd live in Auckland during the week and Wellington on the weekends back at home. It was a little bit warmer up north, I've got to say. That's one thing going for it. Warmth does matter.
So you were, what was close up?
That was the 7 o'clock current affairs show on every night.
Oh, that was talking about issues that impacted. This is Paul Holmes' territory.
Yeah, well, it was Paul's old show.
This is the main.
The home show became closer.
Massive reach and coverage. Boy, that's changed a lot now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, over the glory days, I mean, on both sides, because it was a really, it had, you were the biggest show in town. So.
How do you feel about the fact that you're now being interviewed on Wellington Live, the biggest show in town?
Well, I could have only dreamed of that. I could only have dreamed.
That was Graham Bloxham for Wellington Live. Oh, absolutely. Oh. Okay, well, thank you, Mark.
All right.
I'm going to pull over into a loading zone right now where we do have a loading zone permit. Yeah, that's hot.
You can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
Well, we might as well just start the interview. Now.
Okay, let's do that. Good morning.
G'day.
How are you?
We got a problem?
Hey, we've got a massive problem here.
What, you and I?
No, not
Oh,
us.
I never meant it.
We've always gone very well.
We have.
That's fine, yes.
But we've got a problem in Wellington.
A massive problem in Wellington. Yeah, the city, I mean, it's brought to its knees basically. You know, from the business, small businesses to hospitality, lack of parking, retail suffering, the spending like, I mean, we need pipes fixed, we've got leaks everywhere, everybody knows this stuff. It's common sense, so you think you do the must-dos first and not the wish list, you know, so, I mean, you know.
But I mean, there are some problems though that are probably universal, even around the country we're facing. I mean, you know, we've had inflation, we've had all these things going on, things being really tight. What makes it worse here?
Well, what makes it worse here is the fact that you've got the council, and you can't say it's the whole council, you've got people with lack of experience making decisions on behalf of the whole city.
Some of those councils have been there for years.
Yes, and some of them are very good, some of them are excellent councillors. But then you've got other people that don't have any business experience, don't even have a clue about budgets, hence the issue of the long-term plan at the moment.
Yeah. Well,
It's kind of, we're facing a massive problem.
so should we just a lot, bring in the commission?
Well, they've obviously got an observer coming through, but I don't think.
So I think it'd be a good thing.
It's absolutely a great.
I thought it was a smart move, the council saying,
Yes, it is a smart move. They do need that. They need someone to come through because things have gone from bad to worse. But we can get the city back on track. You know.
How?
Well, we need to just spend the money in the right places. You know, obviously, you know, if you're spending 300 million and then suddenly you don't have the budget enough to fix water issues, and we've got major infrastructure problems. Should be negotiations with government to come in because this has been a lack of spending for years, so it's not just.
Should we own a share of the airport?
Absolutely. That's our asset.
I know, but what about, but if there's a major earthquake, that's the airport gone.
It's gone, but it'll be insured. We should be, and we've got to have some income.
Okay, so the idea of sell the shares and use that money to fix things up.
They won't work, the money will dwindle away, we won't have any investment, and there'll be a massive problem.
They can put you in charge of it, Paula.
Well, yes,
You can be in charge of the money, no one gets it until
No one gets it until they quantify what it's actually for. And, you know, like, it's not one person, you can't say one person in particular, it's just the whole, you need proper management. You need someone to come in.
Look, is it management, is it circumstances, or is it attitude? Because there seems to be just a very down.
There's a lot of division within the council.
Yeah.
So how can you make a decision when you've got sort of this conflict going on within the council?
But you're always going to have division in the council, aren't you?
You're always going to have division, but it seems to be greater now than it's ever been. And they did campaign on having a united council, a united front.
How's that working?
It's not working out well, hence the observer being appointed.
Yeah.
So, you know. So
Well, as I think an observer's a good thing. I mean, what it will do, it may actually give us an independent view on where things are.
Absolutely.
Because that's the problem. No one, each side is arguing with the other, and no one trusts it.
Yeah, no.
And I've said this before, I don't believe people go into those jobs not wanting to do the right thing.
No, they do want to do the right thing. They've all got putting their best foot forward. They do what they believe is the right thing. However, it's not the right thing for the city. We need to make sensible decisions. We need to make the right decisions. We need to have people with experience making these decisions and a united front, because we all want Wellington to be a better place. You know, we all want. We should have had the sevens back at Wellington. People should be campaigning for that.
I want the race back. I want the race.
The race, that's right.
Let's get a bit of high octane going.
Yeah, that's
here.
right. You know, well, we used to have the Nissan 500.
Yes.
I was actually one of the celebrity guests on one of those cars.
Ah, were you in racing against Phil Robson?
I was like racing. It's quite scary, but you know, we had the Nissan 500.
Yeah.
We had the Sevens. We have a lot of arts and things. Thank God we've still got wearable arts. You know,
I tell you, that was an interesting story too. That wearable arts. That was Kerry who got that.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
And no one wanted it.
And now I know.
No one else wanted it. All these
No.
cities were going, oh no, we've got too much going on.
Exactly.
Wearable art is just one of the greatest things.
The greatest things for Wellington, for the hotels, for hospitality, for spending in the capital. I mean, we've got such a beautiful city.
Yeah.
We just need to resurrect it and get it back on track.
Right.
That's what we need. We need to get back on track. Because it's kind of like, you know, we've got these issues we're facing. We know, everybody knows it's not new.
Yeah.
We're not telling anything new, you know, yourself, we all do. So we just need someone to come on and bring that vibe back bring that energy back. You need someone to bring events to Wellington.
Yeah.
So there's more spending in the capital, which will generate more money. Clean the city up, clean the streets up, they're filthy. Lighting.
Funny, a number of people have said that. I mean, it's just simple. It goes back to like New York, you know, the broken windows. Like people talk about, get rid of the graffiti, make it a sort of a city we're proud of.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we used to have such a buoyant city.
Yeah.
You know, so we can get back there.
Good.
And we don't want to be too down on the city because we've got a lot of positives.
That's true.
As well.
That's true.
You know, we've got a lovely look. See, everyone that comes to Wellington says to me, we've got a lovely city to seascape. You can walk around the waterfront and you're in the main city within minutes. So it can be done.
Hey, in terms of the city then,
Yes.
just talking about favourites.
Yes.
Okay, if you're, in terms of restaurants, all right,
yes.
what would be your favourite restaurant in Wellington?
Well, I like Charlie Baker. I think if you want to go out and just have a nice meal, you know, it is a nice place. It's always popular and it's always busy.
Yeah.
But then we've got an array of food here, you know, like we've got we do have, you know, we've got great sort of Mexican, Italian, you know, we've got something for everyone. We just want to make sure they don't close.
Hey, best suburb? I know. Hey, well, listen, I was just saying these guys at Bel Air in Torrey Street.
Yes.
Been to their new French restaurant.
Yes. And
Cheap,
you like it?
affordable.
Yes. Sir.
That's how they pitched it. And like, when I say that, I mean, it's like $8 chocolate mousse, you know.
I mean, it's so
Hello.
affordable. Hello.
So it's really great, very French.
Yes.
But that's, I mean, I just admired someone starting up a business when all this is going on, you know?
Yeah,
starting one.
Starting in this climate.
Yeah.
You know, good on them.
So that's
Credit to them, and you know, I hope they do really well.
And favourite suburb?
Favourite suburb? Well,
you've been one of the flash ones, didn't you? You've been a flash.
I do love Oriental Bay as well.
Of course.
I think, you know, obviously you've got
Yeah.
the beach, you've got
Yeah.
there. But I am from Hotline.
Yeah.
So
You can
it
take
is, but you can't take Hotline Bay out of it. So, but yeah, so I mean, I believe we can get back on track. I think we just need, you know, we need someone to come on. We all know it. I think the Observer's going to be great.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to have you know, and then they can take it from there. You know, and hopefully we should be united. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Hey,
You know,
favourite beach?
favourite beach. I love Island Bay, but I love Wellington Bay as well. I've got a couple here.
Yeah,
There's always you've got
you're
Scorching
conflicted.
Bay.
You're
I'm
conflicted.
conflicted. Well, we've got so much to choose from in Wellington.
Scorching Bay, I remember we were
Scorching
kids.
Bay
We used to
is
come into
amazing
town
in
from out the
summertime.
hut,
Yes.
the big valley, we'd take the big trip in the car in the Zephyr 6.
Yeah.
And you go to Scorching Bay, you know, and it looked perfect. Grass, sandy beach,
Yeah, it's amazing.
freezing cold.
Yeah, well, that's right. You've got to go in summer.
Yeah.
If you want the hot climate, you've got to be in summer. Yeah.
Hey, that's cool.
Hey, yeah, so nice to see
All right, you too. You're looking great. What's going on? Where's
So,
you got that painting there, didn't you?
Yeah, I have. Pull the painting out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so. Oh, well, what have you been doing? What are you keeping up?
Yeah.
You can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
What sort of shape is Wellington in, you reckon, Paul?
Well, I think it's pretty well documented that it's had a rough time due to a range of factors. Been a very, very tough time, but that's not across the whole region. For our business, which is property, up Valley of Kororua, continuing to go from strength to strength.
See, you're an outlier. You're spending money here. You're building something. You're creating something. You're investing in something. Why can that happen here and it's not happening in Wellington City?
Well, we've had an unusual confluence of events out here. We've had very, very supportive local authority. The council has been fantastic. We've got the local iwi who are providing a really strong leadership in the community to give us confidence to invest alongside them. There's not much to argue about, and the other thing is Kororua has this wonderful demographic.
The council's been fantastic.
Yep.
It's not a phrase you hear mentioned often in Wellington City.
No. In fact, I can't remember the last time I heard it.
So what's the difference?
I think if you were to peel away all layers of the onion, you've got people out here who are concerned about community, and in town you've got people who are concerned about corridor. I don't think it's a lot more complicated than that. In Thornton Key, we've spent 20 years trying to build a community that will be, that is the predecessor to this, and to have a bunch of people come along and say corridor is more important than your community is actually devastating.
I mean, that's a case in point, isn't it?
It is the case in point.
I spent most of my childhood in Thornton Key working in the wool store.
I know, like so many other people. Well, you're a muscly guy.
That's right. But okay. Again, is it just... I don't believe that people go in and either who are members of council or council officials don't necessarily go in to try and stuff up everyone's lives deliberately.
No, but they push agendas. And we've had, our disgruntlement down there goes back to the start of Let's Get Wellington Moving. We had wonderful arrangements with Wellington City Council back in the time of Mayor Lester, etc., and before that with Mayor Prendergast, where we basically agreed on safety improvements, etc., on Thornton Key that were very, very effective. But then NZTA started offering local authorities money for local roading projects. But that changed the whole dynamic. Suddenly we had a situation where councils were desperate to spend money on cycleways because funding was available from central government.
So it didn't matter whether it was a good idea or not, the fact that here's the cash, you can spend it.
Yeah, so we designed, back before all that started, we designed at our own cost a laneway that would run along the back of the buildings in Thornton Key and would provide something that would be tourist attraction / would resolve all the safety issues. Mayor Lester was enthusiastic about it, but the difficulty was it didn't involve the roadway and therefore couldn't attract NZTA funding. So it just got buried.
So decisions are made not on whether they're the best decision, but on whether someone else is going to pay for them.
Well, exactly. So say for instance you have a choice between replacing a pipe, which you have to pay 100% of cost of, and putting in a cycleway where you only pay 50% or 49% of the cost. Which project are you going to prefer?
Yeah, is it true also in Thornton that they've done all this work, but they're going to have to dig it up again for the pipes? Is that true?
Well, it is. I mean, it's inevitable that the pipes will have to be dug up. And Thornton Key is State Highway 1 for pipes. Wellington, the main transition main that comes from Upper Hutt down to the big new reservoir, that runs down the middle of Thornton Key. That's 110 years old. All the sewage lines, main sewage from all the northern suburbs, run down directly underneath where most of the new roading infrastructure is. And that's 110 years old and is failing repeatedly.
Hey, look, I'm not an engineer, you know, I've got no idea about these things, but it seems, how does this happen? I mean, if you know that all this infrastructure has to be done, you should surely only dig a road up once in theory.
Well, exactly. So we had this mysterious case where Wellington Water sent two memos, one concerning Golden Mile and one concerning Thornton Key. They were both formatted exactly the same, and they were addressed to exactly the same people. The ones for Golden Mile were received and acted on, and the ones for Thornton Key were supposedly not received, or if they were received, everything was resolved, but there is no documentary evidence. It is a gaping hole in the whole consents process for that project.
What do we do about it?
I think we have to keep yelling and screaming until people take notice. So what is good about it is that the Fourth Estate have got a hold of the issue. They now understand the issues. The Third Estate, in the form of the Court of Appeal, has got a hold of it. They've agreed with the Thornton Key Association that the council processes were illegal. And the Second Estate, being Cabinet, is starting to get their head around it and have started to appoint observers, etc. So at some point, those Wellington City councillors who just blindly refuse to have this project reviewed or have any questions considered about it, they're going to have to wake up and confront it, or the consequences will be dire.
You're a businessman.
Yep.
You invest money.
Yep.
You know, it doesn't grow on trees. I presume you want to hang on to it as much as possible. Has this cost you what's been happening in Wellington City?
Oh, the Wellington City thing. I mean, the building, the wool store we've done at Thornton Quay, which you worked in.
My dad was the boss there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lovely part of Wellington's history. We invested shares at $1 20 years ago in that building, and those shares are worth about $1. 20 years later, we've strengthened the building, we've reduced its carbon footprint, we've invested in artworks throughout the building. But and to be fair, you know, I've got a cheque of something like $4,000 or $5,000 every month for the last 20 years in this building. I couldn't be happy about that. But my $1 shares are still worth $1. So the short answer is that we're very happy about that as a family. It doesn't concern us because we've got other things that make money and get us our daily bread. What we are pissed off about is spending 20 years building a community and having it wiped out by some really, really poor decisions.
And that's it. It's a level of decision making.
And it's not just a bunch of councillors who don't have good sense. It is actually a bunch of council officers who are obfuscating, avoiding, misinterpreting, and just overall, from day one, they've refused to consider that businesses along Thornton Quay have any interest in their local project.
What needs to happen then?
The project needs an external review urgently. It needs somebody completely independent from Wellington City Council with the appropriate expertise to come along and look at the economics of the business case, which are increasingly looking flimsy. It's somebody to come along and look at what are the financial impacts on Thornton Quay businesses, because I think they're huge, and property owners. You know, I think that's increasingly looking like $100 million burden that business owners are carrying. And thirdly, somebody has to come clean about the pipes and say, because at the moment we've got 3 versions of events around those pipes there. Yes, we had a phone call with Wellington Water and we resolved all the issues to do with the pipes in Thornton Quay. You don't need to worry about anything. Or secondly, yes, we got that memo, but the person who got it has left the organisation, so we don't know about it and we don't have to release it. And thirdly, yes, we've documented the whole thing, and it's just crazy.
You know what you need.
Yeah.
You know what you need, don't you?
Yeah.
More cones.
Well, thank you, Mark.
I think just cones will solve it all, Paul. That's the thing. Bring on the cones.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think, what should we cone though? Yeah, exactly. It's bewildering. And today, like today, we're assured that by Wellington City Council that they wouldn't do anything precipitous about coning off the wool store as we head into our Christmas trading period. We get up this morning, the building's coned off. And so I'm sitting here, feeling grumpy about Donald Trump. I'm feeling grumpy about the door that doesn't work, that property down here. And then somebody's gone and coned out the thing. I'm having grumpy time. Should be incredibly happy.
There we are. Your award.
The first prize.
The Wellington City Council Orange Cone Award. Inaugural recipient. Yeah. It's so look, is it all too late? I mean, I keep running into people saying, well, we're leaving, we're moving out of town, we're going to go somewhere. This is what worries me the most.
It's not too late. It's never too late. It's 50 years since the day I stepped off the Aramoana and went up to warehouse and just sat on the balcony there and thought, this is the most wonderful, exciting place in the world. And I've never really lost that.
Well, you weren't wrong there, though.
No.
You weren't wrong. You were quite right.
But and so I haven't lost the love of Wellington, but we're deeply annoyed about a bunch of councillors who do not admit the problem. So if they admit there's a problem, I think we can start repairing it. But the big retailers, they'll be fine around Wellington. They will all come back. Briscoe's will be fine. The warehouse will be fine, etc. But that person who's got a boutique store down in Dixon, they're buggered. And that takes a generation to come in. That's a 20-year, 30-year issue. I think. I don't know what other people will have a different view, but it's certainly taken me 20 years to build something that is reasonably small and significant. It'll take a long time and a lot of people to do that. I just think we have this lovely view of Wellington, which is a view of the small business, something vibrant.
Yeah. Great. All right.
You can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's true.
We hear a lot about how tough it is. What's the reality?
The reality is, it is tough. It's really tough out there. It's not easy at the moment.
Can you afford to keep going?
I can here, yep. Obviously, earlier in the year, I have already closed 2 bars down the road on the same street.
So when you say I closed 2 bars, that doesn't come without a cost, I presume.
A massive cost. But it was... The long-term outlook over the next year was not positive, and so I had to make the call to close 2 of them and save the other 2.
Could anything have been done that would have avoided that?
The 2 bars that I closed, I don't think anything could have been done. Even if I wasn't paying rent and I didn't have any debt, the numbers of people just out in the street are just not there. So I thought, so that was one of the toughest things that, as we walk down Courtney Place on a Friday, Saturday night, the further you go down the street, the harder it seems to get. We do pretty well here because there's a group of bars in this precinct, and so we kind of feed off each other and we get a good group, and we've been around for quite a long time, so it's established and it's working.
What's the council done to help?
Nothing. The council have done nothing to help.
Isn't that their role?
It would be good if they did help out. I mean, the Golden Mile stuff that's being branded about at the moment, the plans are terrible. I don't think you could find a business that would think that they're a good idea, and yet the council is still planning on moving ahead with it. And they'll end up making, if it goes ahead, they'll end up making the Golden Mile even worse.
And what about here in Courtney Place? Wasn't there a plan for here?
Well, that's part of the Golden Mile. So they do have, and they're supposed to be starting in January.
But some like the idea of maybe what's happening at one end, but don't like what's happening at the other.
I don't know if you find many people around our area, around Courtney Place, that would like the plans that the council had proposed. And they make out that they're coming and they're having meetings with us, but they've already pre-decided what they're going to do. And so whenever you make any suggestions, it's just kind of falling on deaf ears. And so it's quite frustrating because I've been to numerous meetings with them and it's always a waste of time.
You were saying before you shut down 2 bars.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds, okay, you shut down 2 bars, but I presume there are jobs, there are people who work there. It has a real effect. It's not just shutting down a business, this affects lives.
I mean, in fact, I had to put the company into liquidation. Because, and that's what I mean by shutting down 2 bars. So I had to lay off staff, let people go, and obviously there's a big impact on debt that it's going to take me 6-7 years to pay off.
So you can't sit very well with it, could it?
No, but it was either keep trying and take all 4 bars down, or shut 2 and carry on with 2.
Okay, so what would help? I mean, some of the things you're saying the council are looking at doing are completely the wrong things to be doing.
Yep.
What would help you and everyone else around here in hospital?
There's a number of things, right? There's no silver bullet. I would love to see, I don't know if you've been to Auckland, but you walk around Auckland and they've got lots of fairy lights and lighting all around the place in their precincts, and it looks great, lively, and that sort of stuff would be really good. If they put lighting down Allen Street, lighting down Blair Street, under the awnings, lighting on the buildings, that would be a good start. It would be really good if they added a lot more cameras around the area as well. If the police came down hard on antisocial behaviour, as opposed to focusing on the bars and blaming us for all the problems, they should be working with us to clean up the street. It'll be great to see them get rid of a lot of the homelessness. Let's get the emergency housing out of the area. It would be good to see the streets being cleaned on a weekly basis, which doesn't happen.
Well, they don't clean the streets.
No. Like years ago, you would have those water, they'd be water blasts in the streets, and they'd have the street cleaners going
night
down.
car.
Yeah, but you don't see that very often. Like that, I mean, they say it happens once a month. I mean, I'd question whether it happens even that much. There's a whole lot of factors that could help tidy up the area and would make some difference. They've got to try and encourage some of the businesses and corporates coming back to the area, because I think we've lost a lot of corporate businesses around the area as well. They've got to try and we've got a lot of empty spaces that need to be leased. The council should be working with business owners to see what we can do to get them leased, because the more empty spaces you have, then it
Adds to the...
Well, yeah, because we are in a bit of a grim spot.
Yeah.
But see, I just don't think the council have the smarts to be able to come up with any concepts or anything like that. One of the shining lights that I'm holding on to is that working group that have kind of come up with Fran Wild, Kerry Prendergast, you've got Mike Egan and Bob Jones, and there's been like 20 people on it, and they're meeting on a weekly basis. That gives me some hope, because that kind of group is what Wellington needs, is the kind of sitting around kind of coming up with ways to help reinvigorate. We need to try and bring events to the city.
Yeah.
We should have one big event in Wellington every month.
I want the car race back.
Oh, mate, I'd have anything. It doesn't necessarily have to benefit us directly, but anything that brings people to Wellington, attractions, and we don't have that. We're missing out on a lot. And I look at Christchurch and it's like that new stadium that's coming out, and Christchurch just seems to be going from strength to strength. And they've got a mayor who wants to kind of be the sporting capital of New Zealand. And it's like that's the kind of vision we need from a mayor.
Yeah.
It's like let's go back to trying to become the entertainment, arts kind of capital, and bring lots of activity here.
See, it's funny, we're just talking to a couple of young guys, construction workers, just down on the street.
Yeah.
And they like Wellington because of all the cultural stuff that's going on and all the events and things. So you're right. I mean, but they should be pushing to bring more stuff here, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I just don't think we have enough. We've got a great space just over the road there, the St. James, but it's not busy very often at all. I think they have one event like one every 3 weeks or something like that, and every other time you'll have homelessness hanging out the front, and it just looks messy and it's untidy. Whereas something should be on there every weekend.
Hey, on a positive note, but for Wellington, what's your favourite restaurant?
My favourite restaurant, I have to say Nicolini's down Blair Street.
The Yonks.
It has been there for yonks. I've been going a lot. There's only one dish I eat, which is the fettuccine shrimp every time I go.
I also like the veal masala.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So, yeah, that's my favourite restaurant. And obviously the owner there, he's always working there. He's fantastic, Antony.
Hey, and your favourite beach?
My favourite beach? I mean, I would have to say Waikanai, because I kite surf and I go out to Waikanai and do kite surfing. We don't really have beaches like in Australia that are worth sunbaking and surfing and all that sort of stuff. I mean, Lyall Bay's not too bad, but yeah.
Yes, we do.
Waikanai is where I'd prefer to go, for me.
Excellent.
Suburb.
Hey, oh yeah, what suburb? What's your best favourite suburb in Wellington?
Well, I'd have to go with the one that I live in, which is Kawori.
biggest suburb in Australasia at one stage.
It is, yeah. But it's good. I love Corey. I've been living there, almost 20 years now. We've got the mountain bike park, which is fantastic. I go up there on a regular basis. So occasionally I ride into work from Corey, but most of the time I drive.
You can use those lovely cycle lanes, get you here nice and safe.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the cycle lanes.
All right.
You can't beat Wellington on a good day or even a bad day too. You can't beat Wellington, it's a cliche, but nonetheless it's